to the third episode of Lone Star Hammered. Today I have David Hall and David Villareal with me. So real quick, I just want to go over some stuff from last week. We have the winner of our Morven Vol. Damn, the army that is pretty much S to A tier right now that didn't get any wins last week is Sisters, and that's going to be Mr. Winter Knight SC. So I will be messaging you on YouTube. Please respond to me. I'll try to send you an email or reach out to me if you watch this, just so I can get your address and send your stuff out. And along with that, for this week, the army that should have won is my favorite, Botan. So we're doing our giveaway this week. Please subscribe, like, and then comment your favorite army and your favorite drink to win the Botan Pioneers. Now, with that being said, let's kick it off into our podcast. So, what's everybody drinking tonight?
Well, I'm bumming off your whiskey, the 1792.
Yeah, so we are drinking this single barrel 1792. Just because I had some, I'm going to show bottles now because people didn't believe that I had that 12-year of Weller's that we were drinking on the first episode. And David, what do you have?
I just added a little bit of Jack to my Dr. Pepper. I got to drive tonight, so yeah. just enough to flavor it.
Okay, cool. So I'm going to start with you then, David. Just some quick questions. How long have you been playing 40K?
I've been playing since about 7th edition and got competitive around 8th edition.
Okay, so how many years does that put you at? Is that like 5?
That's got to be probably 7, give or take.
Cool.
7 or 8.
What armies do you actually own?
So between me and my teammate, we have a collective. So we've kind of got access to every army at this point.
Okay, that's pretty nice. And then what's your favorite army to play, or what are you playing right now?
Thousand Suns is by far my favorite army, just aesthetically and lore-wise. But generally, I'm caught playing Chaos most of the time.
I mean, T-Suns falls into Chaos, and you just... Is it the whole, like hubris of them that they all turned into dust, pretty much, that you like, or...
So I was attracted to the blue to begin with, and then I just started delving into it.
Okay, cool. That makes a lot of sense, man. David?
Yeah.
How many years have you been playing? This is gonna be a long one.
Actually, no, not that long. I started back in with the 2nd edition rulebook back in 2006 in Iraq. It's like, all right, let me read that board, and I was like, I'm gonna play this as soon as I get back. I get back, it's 4th edition, and there's no one to play with me just yet. So, all right, well, I'm still gonna buy some models. That was Dark Angels, and box set came with everything. But as far as competitively, probably not till 2009, and even then, it wasn't real competitive until I got to San Antonio in 2011.
Okay, so still a couple years. You got over a decade going.
Yeah, over a decade.
Yeah, that's what I meant by a long one. Like this is, I know you've been playing for a while. So what armies do you own?
Pretty much the Imperium except Space Wolves. I don't know why.
Okay. Is it just like you're not like Team Jacob or?
Yeah, not into the furries.
Okay.
Because I have the Blood Angels.
Hell
so.
Yeah.
Let's see. Nothing Chaos and nothing Xenos except maybe just because they're sort of Imperium, but not the Hearthkin and the Dwarves. Space
the Leagues of Votan. That makes sense.
So,
and what's your favorite? I already know the answer to this one, but some of you guys may not. What's your favorite army?
That's got to be the Salamanders.
Salamanders all day.
So I love it when my heroes suffer, whether it's literary or in game wise, and they can do it.
Some people know David as old Papa Salamander around Texas. So cool. Well, I'm glad to have you guys on, and let's start tearing into all these lists for this week because we have 7 different events that we're going over, which is quite a bit. So the first one I'm going to do is I'm actually going to start with...
7 events is a great weekend.
Yeah. No, I mean, once again, we had over 80 players all over Texas. Good job, guys. Like, you guys have just been crushing it. So, it's amazing. Alrighty. So, the first one, is going to be Games Unplugged, the 40K tournament. It happened this last weekend in Midlothian, Texas. It was a 14-man event. And our number 1 is going to be Braden Burney. So he was playing Astra Militarum. Really cool to see Astra Militarum shine this weekend. There was a couple different lists, so I'm excited to talk about them. The first thing that he had some Gaunt's Ghosts, pretty much an auto take. And feel free to chime in, guys, if you want to talk about any of the stuff as I read it off. We had Lord Solar, another auto take. Most lists don't survive without that combo right there of the Gaunt's Ghosts and Lord Solar. The Gaunt's Ghosts obviously make them have as many special rules as Eldar, and they're able to jump around the table.
Kind
And
of like
then
the Calidus, just up and down, up and down.
yeah, but better in my opinion, because they are good melee. They're a hard unit to kill. They're up and down constantly. They're phenomenal. And then that Lord Solar, obviously, to hand out orders to everything in the IG Codex, pretty much.
Bonus CP.
Yep. And the bonus CP.
That-
We have a tank commander. He's got the Grand Strategist, makes sense. And then we have Ursula Creed. Then we rock into some infantry squads. So he's got 1 infantry squad and 2 full mans. They each have a mortar with them. I like that option. And then a melt-a-gun as well. There's 1, 2, 3 basilisks. I think that's good. I think we're going to start seeing a lot more indirect, especially with Dark Eldar being as powerful as they are. And having the ability to like reach across the board and touch everything, even if you can't see it, it can be very, very strong.
I believe the Basilisk also survived the points increase on a lot of the indirect fire.
They absolutely did.
Tanks.
Yeah, they haven't really had a points increase issue at all across the board, which is really cool.
Them and the Scorpius, but the Scorpius is wildly overcosted anyway, so.
Yeah. And then we have a Lehman Russ Demolisher, a Scout, and that's just he's got a plasma cannon on that too, which I thought was pretty cool. The 2 plasma cannons. That's how I have mine kitted out. I like it. I like the damage output from it. It's spiky, and then it risks obviously hurting yourself, which I always enjoy doing. And then 2 Scout Sentinel squads, obviously makes sense to help out that indirect, and a Storm Sword. The Storm Sword is going to be really strong going into Custodes, I think. It just starts deleting units, so that's really fucking cool to see as well. Any comments or critiques on this list, guys?
I love the Hydra autocannons on that. He's got a single Hydra, I believe.
Did I miss that?
Just right under the Basilisk.
Oh my god, I did miss
Yeah,
that. He has a
so-
Hydra. Holy shit. That's amazing.
So, especially with Drakari possibly, just coming out, I think I prefer 2 Hydras over 3 Basilisk, just to reserve one, come at that angle that they're not expecting. But obviously he did well with the single, and maybe it might be too much of a good thing if you did take 2. So
Yeah, I honestly I really enjoy seeing the Hydra because you are right. I mean, the ability, like the Hydra, is going to crush a lot of Drakari lists.
anti-fly 2 plus. Oh yeah,
that's really strong.
Yeah, it's gonna hurt a lot, especially being twin linked. Like it's a lot of
and it
damage.
also reroll hits too.
Yep.
So it's there to
Oh.
pick things up. Small things, but transports usually are just a pain to shoot through anyways.
Yeah, no, they really are. So his first opponent was Necrons. Really good win there. Obviously, Necrons is one of those boogeyman lists right now in the meta. Then he had Chaos Knights. I'm almost positive that those Basilisks made easy work of those Chaos Knights. And then he ended it with Grey Knights. Honestly, I think that might have been his harder matchup, the Grey Knights, just because of their ability to jump around so much and score so many points as well as him, and the ability to get in his backfield and go after some of those heavy-hitting targets that he has in his army. But
And
Yeah.
they don't have fly themselves, so they're not taking advantage of it. Them
Yeah.
getting slowed down by the Basilisk don't matter when you just pick up and jump anyways.
Yep.
So yeah, that might have been a rough one for him.
Yeah. So, hey, good job, man. Good job to Braden. All right, our next list from that event, this is the Games Unplugged.
Real quick, Midlothian, that's pretty much Dallas.
Is it?
Yeah, it's a good location to have an event.
Okay, cool.
Good
Yeah, I mean, there was another one in Dallas, too. I mean, they keep having, like, consistent multiple events each weekend, so it's a big area to game at.
That's why GUW's going there.
Yeah. No, there's a bunch of events happening there this year. So my next one is going to be the Games Unplugged 40K tournament. And that's going to be Andrew Champion that happened to go undefeated there. So he was playing Space Marines, Ultramarines to be specific for him, with a Vanguard Spearhead. Really like seeing the Vanguard Spearhead. I like it a good amount. He had the Biologist, Biologus, sorry. The Lieutenant with a combi weapon, Marinus Calgar, the Ventress, looks like one aggressor
That's
squad.
the guy that gives that deep strike to a unit.
Yep, and especially with Vanguard, just pick them up, drop them again.
Yeah, it can make that list very mobile. He has an aggressor squad with the Fragstorm grenade launchers and the Boltstorm gauntlets, so he's boltering. He's got a Devastator squad, all las cannon. I like seeing this. It's not something that you actually really see that much. I think that might be the squad that he would have had deep striking, maybe, possibly. just to get those angles. And I didn't get to play against this list, unfortunately, but that's what I would do with that one. Then we have
Eradicators. Over Eradicators.
It's a good option because Eradicators I like walking on. Right, it forces my opponent to stay away from the board edge necessarily because you want to stay out of melter range, and then you can deep strike those Centurions and not worry as much about them dying because they're significantly tougher.
Oh yeah, 2-up save.
Yeah.
And they only move 4
Yeah.
inches, so they really need that
Oh
movement.
yeah.
There.
And you just drop them down. Most events will have that ability where you can have multiple lines of fire with just them deep striking. That's what I would do, or it would be like game dependent. So we have a company hero squad, pretty standard there, and then that Eradicator squad. But he took the small man. That's why I don't think he did on these. So he has 2 Eradicator squads. Maybe if he had the 6 man to do it just to have the firepower, but you're kind of wasting that guy's ability. I don't know.
Maybe the 6 man, like if there's that one threat you need to get to. But
100%. And then he had an Inceptor squad, huge Inceptor squad, with the Plasma, and then a small Inceptor squad with the Assault Bolters, a Scout squad, a Scout squad, a Scout squad, and a Calidus. Man, a lot of mobility
This
in this
guy's
list.
playing the uppy downy.
Oh, yeah. And
Very uppy downy.
but you kind of have to right now with Space Marines. I really think that
Oh,
that
yeah.
is the list that you like absolutely have to play the uppy downy because you need to score points. And the army's going to kill stuff eventually.
I mean, even if it doesn't.
Starting to see that a lot in armies. Like, a lot of uppy downy armies. Like, they're all trying to be Grey Knights, Demons. It's becoming a good way to consistently score.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I like it. I like seeing it because it gives you the ability to play more objective based than like, oh, I'm just going to come in and crush everything in your list. So we played against Custodes. That uppy downy can be really hard into Custodes. Like they may not have the ability to get the board control to block that player out, where they are able to stop them from gaining points. Next one.
And that army does have that strat as well, especially against Custodes. Whenever you declare that charge, I can move away.
Oh, yeah, and
Yeah.
I don't know if he's got any phobos. I didn't see it, but that 6-inch move too. If on them, it's like, oh, nope.
No, it can be very, very destructive. And then he played Grey Knights, so that would have been just honestly, maybe whoever got turn 1 has the advantage going into that game, just to be able to
Pick up.
Whoever didn't get turn 1.
There you go.
You don't want turn 1 in that game. So whoever had turn 1 had that uphill battle because they weren't able to pick up half of their army that turn and then redeploy them. And then he played Demons. So that's another boogeyman thing out there, and we're going to talk about Demons here coming up, actually. So I'll save that one for you. All right. Hey, man. Good job, Andrew. Crushed it going 3-0 at that event. So good job, man. And good job as well to Braden again. All right. Next event is going to be War Games Con presents King of the Castle for February. This was going to be in Austin, Texas, and a 22-player event. Our winners for this are going to be David Hall, who we have here today. I cannot wait to hear about your list. Lucas Flannery and Samuel Cook. So let's go into our number 1 here, man. David Hall. So I'm gonna read through your list, and we'll talk about it a little bit afterwards, okay?
Sounds
This
great.
So-
was the largest event, right?
This was the it tied. So the Dragon's Lair also had 22 players.
Oh, that's great.
So
Yeah.
Dragon's
Still-
Lair wins because we had a ringer.
Oh, the ringer.
And we had an extra guy that we dropped because it was just like, just keep pairing.
Yeah, they had 19 and they dropped theirs to 18. Okay, so I mean, yeah, but I still a good win though, still a solid win. It was one of the larger events from the weekend. So we have Chaos Demons. You played Bellicor, a great unclean one with the Endless Gift. I want to hear your thoughts on that when we get into it. A Keeper of Secrets with the Soul Stealer. Also, want to hear your thoughts on that one. I think that is a cool ad. Lord of Change with an Everstav. The Changeling. A squad of Nurglings. A Big Pig Horror Squad. Blick of Plague Bearers. And then the ones that I absolutely love, because we talked about this, I think, last week. A Soul Grinder. And that's it. So just fucking big boys
Big,
all over the
thick
field.
demons.
Dude, thick demons. You need to name that list like thickies or some shit like that. Like you need a good name for it.
I know after the event I messaged him. So how do I beat demons? And his response.
Yeah.
He immediately
He does.
messaged me.
Yeah. All right, man. So let's walk through this, man. Let's talk about. We'll start at the top, dude. Bellicor. How does he play? What do you do with him?
So Bellicor is absolutely what makes the list function, especially with the current meta of big guns coming across the board.
Yep.
That pseudo lone op that he gives out is just so key to protecting all these big guys from a turn 1 alpha strike.
Yeah. That's the
Generally,
18-inch lone op, right?
yes, it is the
Yeah.
18-inch lone op. The only time I ever change that aura is if my opponent goes first, and because I declare his aura at the beginning of the battle round, I will only change it to the you have to take battle shock if you're within 6 inches and you're below starting strength, just to potentially do mortal wounds from being within 6 of Be'lakor, because he gives that shadow within 6 as well. So every failed battle shock at -1, you're taking D3 mortals.
Okay, that makes sense.
But it only functions if they go first. If I go
Yeah.
first, it's not necessarily going to happen.
Yeah, and you're obviously, because this is a majoritively melee army, there's some sneaky shooting in there.
Oh, you
But
say
you're-
majority melee? No, buddy. These
Yeah?
demons have so many shooting now because
they
psychic
really
base is
do.
gone.
Yeah, I guess that is a really good point. They do have a lot of shooting, but you're still moving that army forward to get in range of some of those psychic powers.
It's 18 to 24 for most of their shooting, if not
Yeah.
further with the soul grinders. Like, it's actually not terribly far.
Okay,
They put out
so on turn
to-
1, do you even really move forward all that much?
Maybe from line to
So
side.
it's very determinate. Generally, I'll stage for turn 1 if I go first. With my luck, I'm always going second, and I'm here for it.
Yeah,
But turn 1 staging is generally what happens. I don't really push out too far unless I'm
okay.
placing my Great Unclean One on the center objective and saying, "Come deal with him." And Bellacor's just within 6 of him, not getting too close, not getting himself set up, because I want people to shoot the Great Unclean One all day and giggle in 4+ invuln, 4+ feel no pain, and toughness 12.
Yeah, I mean, let's talk about him next then, the Great Unclean One. So will you use him kind of as a meat shield?
He doesn't die.
Yeah.
He's generally, people leave him alone, but he has a flamer,
Yep.
D6 plus 3 shots that just kind of keep away the small guys that want to get tangled up with him.
Yeah.
He's not very good at killing big stuff. He does have the lethal hits on a D6 damage, but he's only strength 8 and only 6 attacks. His big thing is just he's a fat OC5 body that can place himself on an objective and kind of help keep my shadow there.
Okay, that's super good. And then the Endless Gift, that gives him what?
That
Feel no pain?
gives him a 5+ feel no pain base,
Yep.
and then if he's within the shadow, he has a 4+ feel no pain.
Cool. Perfect, man. Keeper of Secrets. This one, how do you feel about it with the points increases?
So overall, I was testing out. I played the Keeper, and then I did a bunch of play testing where I played Rodigus in addition to the Great Unclean One, so they
Okay.
could kind of stack up. However, the Keeper's speed is just super necessary.
Nice.
That
it is
14-inch
really
movement
fast.
and her shooting as well has a bunch of dev wounds with 9 shots. Her feel no pain.
Does she
her
have
-1.
Does she have anti anything for the shooting, or is it just dev wounds? Okay.
It's just dev wounds. It's strength 6, AP2, 1 damage for the overcharge.
Yeah.
And 9 shots at range 18, pretty good.
not bad
Her
at all.
moving 14, I have the stratagem for advancing charge if I want to. I actually nerfed myself. I didn't realize her enhancement that I take is Soul Stealer. What happens with the Soul Stealer, every time she kills a model in melee, on a 4+, I heal a wound.
Yep.
I didn't actually read the extra bit of text that says if I'm within my shadow, I add 1 to that dice roll.
Oh, okay.
So on a 3+, she'll be healing wounds back, and she has 6 strength 8 attacks that are damage 3, 4 strength 6 attacks that are damage 3, and dev wounds.
Yep.
So she's got a lot of
beast in
attacks.
combat.
She's hard to remove, and she's going to keep healing on top of if I have to take battle shocks. And there's
Yeah.
a lot of things in the game right now that force you to take battle shocks, including Drukari's Incubi saying, hey, start of the fight phase, you're in combat with me, you got to take battle shock, and I giggle as I heal wounds.
Yeah. That's really good. And then Lord of the Change is obviously you're just using that as a gun platform.
That is an absolute gun platform. It's a quick moving one as well. It moves 12 inches. People aren't ready for the 9 shot sustained hits D3. It goes to strength 12 while within the shadow at AP2 D3 damage. D3 damage is really a big turnoff, but with the current state of the meta, it's seeing all these light tanks, all these elite infantry. He can just pick up units.
Yeah, no, he's really good at that, doing that. And for those of listening who don't know, when you say the shadow, what are you talking about?
So the Shadow is the demon's army-wide ability. So my deployment zone is always my Shadow of Chaos. And then to move my Shadow, it has to be Bellicor, which is within 6 of him is always considered my Shadow. And then I have to control half the objectives in No Man's Land, and that makes No Man's Land the Shadow. Then half of the objectives in my opponent's deployment zone, and that'll make his deployment zone or her deployment zone the Shadow as well. While within the Shadow, all my demons get +1 to battle shock tests, and if I pass a battle shock test while within my Shadow, I heal D3 wounds. If I'm a battle line unit, I get D3 models back.
That's really good.
That's very
really good.
It's very solid whenever you have horrors taking battle shock that can explode, and we'll come up to them. And then the other side of it is if my opponent takes a battle shock while within my Shadow, they get -1 to their test, and if they fail the test, they take D3 mortals in addition to being battle shocked.
Yep, that is. I love their army rule. It makes that army very cohesive as you move forward across the board. So fucking sick. I like it. I like it. You have the Changeling next, obviously. I think everybody knows why you have that guy there.
That guy is
He's
fantastic.
got
He's got
So
loan
he's
up,
very-
and I will go tag somebody's melee stuff that try to get behind enemy lines or do behind enemy lines or something. I'll go charge them and just get in combat. I killed a squad of mandrakes off of leadership tests.
Nice. And then 2 Nurglings. Also, a lot of people should know what that's doing. You're having the ability to deep strike in, especially with your elitist army. I can only assume, like, just to get some of those secondaries. Do you take fixed or do you take tactical most times?
I generally take tactical because the
Yeah,
army uses a lot of CP.
Yeah, I can 100% see that. And that's obviously why you have those Nurglings. And then the squad of Pink Horrors, we already talked about. That squad's just hard as hell to kill.
Them
And-
splitting on 4+s and
God, it's so
deep
good.
striking in wherever you want them to say, this is my objective now. I have a strat for 1 CP, 3-inch deep strike.
If you're
Take it from me.
basically not shooting at them with like 30 attacks, you're not going to wipe the squad.
If you're not a Gladiator Reaper, it's not going away.
Yeah. And then we have the Plague Bearers, same thing, just really hard to kill squad. Do you use them offensively that much, the Plague Bearers? I kind of like them.
I do. So I generally sticky the home objective with their ability, and then they kind of follow my Great Unclean one because he gives out a 6-up Feel No Pain to them. So they're 2 wound models at toughness 5 with the 6-up Feel No Pain.
Yeah.
And apparently my Chaos dice are silly because I'll make half of my Feel No Pains as taking 2 damage.
And it's funny is that it's the Great Unclean one that's screening them. So,
Yeah.
Pretty much.
yeah.
And then I think my personal favorites of this list. I know Bellicor is like that staple for this. But the things that I love seeing so much are those soul grinders, man. Talk to me about how you're using those.
So, specifically these outside of clutch strings, I found this out whenever I played on the terrain the first time at an event. There's actually half the terrain I can walk over. Their ability is to walk over 4-inch or less terrain.
Yep.
So they can't charge over it. Figured that out, but they can make a normal advance over it.
Yeah.
So I can walk over the terrain. They move 8 inches. Not the fastest things, but when you can uppy downy like demons do, these guys have a better las cannon on them with D3 shots blast because I went Zinch. So they're strength 12 or strength 13 if I'm near my Lord of Change, which makes shooting heavy tanks really appealing, and knights even.
Knights, yeah.
Yep. Yeah, being able to wound on that 3-up is money.
It is fantastic. I mean, I never hit, but that's regardless. But they're strength 12, AP2, D6 plus 2 damage, and then I have 3 shots at strength 10, AP1, flat 3 damage, and then they have their can opener claws and a sword. But the sword's whatever. It's that can opener claw that's strength 16 for 5 attacks at AP3, D6 plus 2, and these guys are a tank shocking menace. They generally always have 18 dice. I can't think of anything over toughness 16. That's in
there's not
competitive 40k.
Yeah. There's
Yeah.
not much.
So the tank shock on top of just these claws coming in and just kind of opening whatever they feel like opening, and the sword
Is
kind of
their
helping.
main gun,
clean
is
up.
that an assault weapon? Is that
No,
the
they
assault
can't
weapon?
advance and shoot.
Okay. Yes, you're just making your opponent suffer from even coming near them.
Yeah, and I mean I'm terrified of Admech's anti-walker on them, but listen, I got to give up something. But they have a 3-up armor and a 4-up invuln at toughness
Yeah, they do.
11.
Yes. They
So
like even
again,
defensively, they're really good. I don't know why I haven't seen more of them so far. Like when I saw him last week, I think it was you or somebody else. Was it you last week that was playing?
it
as
was
well?
absolutely me.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was like, holy shit, these are fucking phenomenal. Why have I not seen them before?
How much do they come in at?
Like 160 or something.
They're
super
190
cheap.
points.
190.
They were
Still.
they were 200 and dropped by 10 points.
That's still not bad for what they do at 190. What's their OC?
5.
Yeah. What the fuck?
Like all my big guys are OC5. My entire army has a 4-up invuln, except for the Plague Bears have a 5-up and the Nurglings have a 6-up.
Dude, that's awesome.
Just
So if I could
removing
spend
these
just the
models.
extra 45 points on my crab walkers to have like a melee threat as well, I would be all about it.
Yeah.
But the
100%.
the Admech crab walkers are
Yeah.
just a little overpriced at 145.
All right. So the people that you played against Adam Westberg with Sisters, Ethan Nolan with World Eaters, and then Matthew Ali with Dark Elder. I know Matthew Ali is a teammate of yours, but which one of these 3 matchups was actually your hardest?
Oh, 100% the Jukari matchup.
Okay.
Sisters, he did have some Melta threat, but he had to go first into the pseudo lone op, and
Yeah.
the Castigators fired at my keeper, and I just peeled off the battle shocks from him,
Okay. That makes sense.
and I was just able to control the board. I was just fat. I'm here. I killed his Paragon Warsuits. Morven Vol did finish off Bellicor. Bellicor exploded and took Morven Vol with her after she had already been rezzed. So
That's nice.
it was a real feels good on my side. But
Yeah, that Morven Ball Bomb can be destructive too, so that's really good you're able to take them out.
and then the World Eater matchup, another teammate of mine. I played 2 of my teammates this weekend.
Yeah. It happens at
he-
these RTTs when we go to them. Like we always.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody that's on these Texas teams, because most of our teams are city
City-based.
specific.
Yeah,
and-
they're localized to your events,
Yeah.
really.
Yep.
Because I
But
did the same thing.
he failed
Kinslayer.
almost all of his charges, and
Yeah.
it took Angron 3 turns to kill, or 3 rounds of combat. Sorry, to kill a Soul Grinder, and then die on my next turn. And he never
Hate to
came
see
back.
it.
He never came back, and I killed 3 squads of 8 bound on my turn 1.
I mean, with the rules changes they made for them, Angron, I have been noticing, doesn't come back.
Because
It's really
that
sad.
relic changed, or
Yeah.
enhancement changed.
Yeah,
No, it
the
was-
favorite
it
of
is
corn.
really
I was
sad.
actually playing World Eaters before the nerf, so I was like, oh no, I have to take a step back. I'm not going to get too
Yeah.
far with these guys now.
No, I
The
was
points
about
and
to
the
buy
rules.
a World Eaters army, and I saw what happened in the data set, and I was like, oh no, Death Guard.
Yeah,
Cool.
great choice there.
And then your Dark Elder opponent, how'd you play against him?
So he again, I went second all turn. No, I went first that game. I staged.
Okay.
He did kill a Soul Grinder turn 1, but it took most of his army, and he was playing 3 Ravagers, and I don't think he ever lost a Pain
Yeah.
token. His Chronos just gave him back to him every time.
Yeah, I've
But-
been noticing, like, with Dark Elder, it's either hit or miss. Like, they either get them all back, or they never get one.
He was never below 3. Like, he always had more than 3. And he wasn't
Yeah.
killing a ton of my units to start with. But he did kill the Soul Grinder. It blew up in my stuff. Very sad. But it didn't slow me down.
Yeah.
He didn't play an optimized list yet. He kind of played with what he had. He played some grotesques that he was like, yeah, these are going back on the shelf. They're not going to be a part of this army. But the Keeper of Secrets won me that game. Just that healing. I think she took 30 damage and ended the game on 7 wounds.
God damn, that's really good. That's
gotta be
really
rough.
powerful, yeah. Well, cool, man. Hey, man, congratulations. It sounds like you had a great tournament, and you played some really good matchups, honestly. Like, Sisters are on the A to S tier, depending on who's ranking them, and same with Dark Elder, man. Dark Elder are super good right now. So good job, dude.
Yeah.
Let's go into our next list. So we've got Lucas Flannery. He plays second, just on points, but still undefeated. And he had T-Suns. Love seeing T-Suns. There's a couple T-Suns lists I think that we're actually going to end up going through. So he's got Airman on a disc. Airman for the points is probably one of the best models in that army. An Exalted Sorcerer with the Lord of Forbidden Lore as the enhancements. An Exalted Sorcerer as well, just by himself. An Infernal Master with the Crystal. And Magnus the Red. Love seeing him on the table. He can be a powerhouse of shooting, and really helps that army out a lot. And then it's Sun sorcerers. So that looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7 characters. Jesus.
They need all
Yeah,
those ball points.
Yep.
Yeah, and he
7
also has
characters.
that Infernal Master with that Arcane Vortex that add that strength and damage to that
Oh,
flamer.
I did. Yeah. There we go. So 7 characters still. I just didn't have the Arcane Vortex.
Magnus is hard to ignore, but you do need to get those characters off the
Yeah,
board.
they just put out so much damage. And then 1 squad of little rubrics. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squads of rubric marines. Looks like warp flamers across the board. I like that a lot. A couple soul reaper cannons tossed in there makes a lot of sense. And a vortex beast and a forge fiend and some Zangorn Lighten to get some points.
So the army looks like it's ready for endless swarms.
Yeah. No, the amount of damage that it puts out is pretty good. And it makes sense that he won his games. So he played against Billy Porter with Space Marines, Chris Broussard with Custodes, so solid win on that one, man. Because Custodes, I think, is actually like a pretty... They have a lot
That
of
Forge
tools
Fiend
to
did a
deal.
lot of work.
Yeah, that Forge Fiend is a really strong take against Custodes.
The damage 3 profile?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yep.
that makes sense.
Yeah, because
And
you're
it's
just
AP3,
deleting units.
so
yeah, you're
it's
just
fantastic.
deleting them.
Just
You're
force the
forcing
invul.
them on their invul every single time, and they just don't have the bodies to keep up with it. Like it'll be interesting to see like the anti-meta to Custodes, because you're going to start seeing a lot of weirdly damage 3 weapons come into play, and I think CSM, even after their nerf, are going to get some play on the board because they're so strong into Custodes. And Custodes are really that boogeyman list.
Well, Chris actually is also a big Black Templars guy, so he's like, they're both really good, and
Yeah.
Custodes is better. That's why he took them,
Yeah.
apparently.
And then his other matchup was against another Space Marine player in this list. It makes a lot of sense. That can just chew through Space Marines and is kind of hard to delete off the board.
Didn't
That
Joseph
last
Snyder go undefeated at the He
did.
Presents event, right?
Possibly.
He did. He actually went undefeated for, I think, 2 or 3 events in a row recently.
Yeah, so
And
no pushover.
that game
Yeah.
that game came down to like a point, I think he said. They were
shit.
playing right behind me. It was actually a really close game.
That's awesome, though. Well, hey, good job, Lucas. Crushed it, and I love seeing T-Suns out there again, doing just a lot of damage all over the place.
I gotta point out, one of the perks of the show is that's the whole reason I even recognize his name is seeing this, because
Exactly.
I don't get it out to Colleen in that area, Belton,
Yep.
all that often, but sooner or later, Joseph, me and you, we'll get a game in.
Hell yeah. And then our last one from this War Games Con presents King of the Castle for February is Samuel Cook.
Josiah.
Yeah,
It's Josiah. Yep.
It's Josiah for everybody that doesn't know. Same individual, same person, different names sometimes. So Mr. Cook ran a Drakari list, Dark Eldar, obviously, with that Sky Splinter Assault. So getting all those bonuses from coming out of vehicles, which is so fucking good. Cannot express it enough. He had an Archon with a Huskblade, Archon Huskblade, Drazzer, and a Lilith. He did not go with the enhancement that upgrades
No Overwatch in him.
the Overwatch.
He did not,
interesting.
mostly because of points.
Okay,
So as
that
you go
makes
down
sense.
the list, it'll make some sense.
Okay. But 3 Archons. I like seeing that as well. So 1 Cavalite Warrior squad, kitted out with that Dark Lance and the Shredder and the Splinter Cannon as well. Big squad and other Cavalites, and then some Witches, obviously, to tag along with Lilith. I played against the Lilith with the Witches, and I had underestimated Witches. When they get Lilith attached to them, holy shit, they are so much.
So, funny story on that. Right before the event, I was actually talking to Matt Ali and I was talking to Robert Grimes because they're both playing Drukari. And I was like, one change I'd like to see Drukari get is I want the Witches to have their 4+ invuln back in melee. They looked at me like I was crazy.
No. they
If
don't
you
need
hit
it.
if you hit the tab on their data sheet, they have it under their 6+ invuln. They get a 4+ invuln in melee.
So the
Okay. I honestly, everything that they touched died melee. I didn't even get a chance to fight back.
Yeah.
So
I didn't know
it was interesting.
it's got
That's
that.
funny. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
Josiah had no idea. We've been testing his Drukari list for the last month. As soon as the data slates dropped, I
Hey,
played
man.
against this list probably 20 times, and we were like, "Oh, witches are trash. They only have a 6+ invuln. They die like paper."
They
Yeah.
do to shooting.
They do to shooting. I found, yeah. Like
But you got to shoot through their boat, right?
yeah, it's they're very destructive, but that's pretty funny. After that we had a raider. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 raiders. That's where those points went to. 2 venoms. Really like seeing the venoms. I like seeing the raiders as well. A Court of the Archon. I think that we're going to start seeing this a lot more with that Court of the Archon add-on. There's 1, 2 of those. A Chronos, obviously, to give back those pain tokens. And then 2 squads, big Incubi units. One obviously being led by Drazar, the other one being led by that Archon. Normally you see these with the Archon that denies the Overwatch, but obviously it wasn't actually needed. And then 1, 2 squads of Mandrakes.
Action monkeys.
Just action monkeys. Words.
Words are hard.
And then a squad of Scourges. With
They had
Shark
Dark Lances. I just realized
Okay.
he submitted the list wrong.
Uh-oh. Minus 10 points.
That might have cost them a game.
Yeah. But yeah, so they had Dark Lances, and obviously they pop out, they shoot, and then they run away. And they do that immediately. You don't have to spend CP. They are a very hard unit to actually bog down and get those shots off. And the Dark Lances with the pain tokens can be insanely good.
Worst part about it is like, oh, I had this interrupt stratagem to shoot these guys who shot me.
Yep.
Yeah, but it's my turn. I'm obviously gonna move my guys before you even get a chance to do your
Yeah.
thing.
So one thing that I noticed that works phenomenally well against them is Overwatch, because they're not super strong, and that is my squad. I learned later on in the game by turn 3 that was my squad that every turn 100% needed to Overwatch, because that was the only way that I was going to get shots off on them. And I was plinking off like 2 bodies at a time, and then it got it down to 0 by turn 5. So he played against Chaos Knights. Honestly, I feel for that Chaos Knight player. There's so many things in that list, especially coming out of those vehicles, being able to like reroll wounds, have lance with the melee threats, and then you have a fuck ton of Dark Lances that are just hanging out.
On top of that extra AP and melee from the pain tokens now from the
Yep.
update.
Yeah.
And you don't even need the enhancement for no Overwatch, because Titanic units can't Overwatch.
Yep.
So
that probably worked great. And honestly, Chaos Knights, so you don't see too many big boys. There's probably a bunch of little war dogs. But they suffered, obviously, to those the Dark Lances. There's so many Dark Lances in that list. Like, he was easily picking up, I can only assume, like 2 to 3 of them a turn. Next one is going to be Orcs. Another one. I don't know how that matchup goes. That can be very swingy, just because both of those armies trade really well in melee. The only plus side that Dark Eldar have is that they're significantly better at shooting, in my opinion.
Yeah,
So-
so I watched that game a little bit.
Yeah.
He was playing against somebody who hadn't played too much in 10th, and that's their game
Okay.
didn't actually go to conclusion. So they had to
we
stop
talked
at
about-
the
yeah,
end of.
yeah.
They had to end after turn 2, just because there's no way to talk out the last 3 turns
Yeah.
of a match.
No, that was a weird
so-
one where I saw that he got a 40-point win. And that happens sometimes, especially
Yeah,
at
it
RTTs.
does, 100%.
Yeah.
That's what RTTs are for.
Yep. In my opinion, that's exactly what RTTs are for, is to test out armies and to build the community. And that's obviously what it did by getting this new player. So cool.
I put a new player on the clock. It's like, I know I'm not going to finish this game if I let you play like normal. And I felt bad because he had like 3 whole turns. He didn't get to do anything.
Man.
It's like, and I tried to tell him, like, stop talking. Let's just play the game.
And then the next one he had, though, was Chris Broussard with Custodes. And playing in the Custodes, I'm glad that he got that win off. I think that can also be a really hard matchup, just because of the amount of small arms shooting that they have, and if they want to pop those boats with their big guns, they can, and then that stuff is out. And I actually, with the invols that Custodes have and their high toughness, even with the lance, sometimes you're still only wounding on 4s.
Well, all the Cobbleites has poison, so
Yeah.
Poison guns, though, yeah, it's just
Yeah,
not
there's a
enough
lot.
shots.
So there's a lot of poison in the list that are going to be winning on 3+. There's a lot of venom cannons in this, on top of the ignores
I
cover
saw
when
that
they get
he
out.
had the Cobbleite Warriors, and then he had the Venoms, but I didn't see any other Venom cannons. It's really only like 6 Venoms.
So there's the 2 Venoms, or 2 Venoms have 2 Splinter Cannons each.
Yep.
And then the 2 Cabalites both have Splinter Cannons.
Yep.
And then the Witches have Splinter Pistols.
Fuck.
And then all the rifles on top. It's just a
yeah.
lot of volume. So when
It
you
is.
put all
It
that
can
volume
be.
together,
Yeah.
and then you add in those Incubi coming in hot with the reroll hits and wounds at
Yep.
damage 2.
With
Wounding
the
on
lance.
4s is fine because Wardens are going to give you -1 if your strength is higher. So
Yeah. And yeah, and that's what I mean by like wounding on fours. I actually think and it's a great win for Josiah. I think it's a hard matchup just because like you have
100%.
so few targets. And if they're wardens for say, like let's say I get that squad out of the big blob of my incubi and I charge him. I'm the warden's player. -1 damage. For feel no pain.
Fight first.
If they pass battle shot.
If they pass battle shot, fight
Ooh,
first.
that's a good one. I mean they have a pretty high
I think it's 6.
leadership. Yeah. That's
I
pretty
mean,
good.
I do think that Custodes they can't buff them too much anymore, but I do think they should have like a 5 on a battle shock or something. They're supposed to be super elite,
Yeah.
while Space Marines also have a 6 up.
Yeah, I agree with that. All right, well, cool. Hey, congratulations, Josiah. You crushed it at that event, man. Let's go into our next one. So our next one is going to be the Dragon's Lair in Houston, Texas.
So the official biggest one.
The official biggest one because you guys had that ringer. Real quick to shout out on Houston, they've got 2 majors coming up. I'm going to do one of my plugs right now for everybody. That first one is going to be Clutch, which comes up here next weekend.
All 3 of us will be there, right?
Yes, everybody's going to be there. That event is sold out, and I know that Colin has a wait list, so I'm not going to try and preach go to that event and buy tickets because he's already maxed out. Which
It looks like it says -8 right now.
Yeah, good on Colin for that one. The other one that we have coming up in Houston is War Dome. There's going to be a link attached here. If you use the promo code HAMMERED to sign up for War Dome, it shows that you bought the ticket because you listened to us. And what that does is it's going to allow the winner of whoever got the most tickets sold to choose a school in which they're going to start a 40K community at. So it's pretty cool. And get your War Dome tickets because I actually think that event's going to be really good. I love first year events because usually people running first year events put way more shit into it to get it recognized and big. Dallas Open did it last year, and I think War Dome's about to do the exact same thing.
Well, I'll say I'll up it right now. We're throwing some Alamo terrain to whatever school wins it. So
Ooh,
that mini Alamos.
okay.
So
Some Alaminis.
that way we can remember the Alamo at the new school.
I like it. Cool, man. Hey, we'll hold that. It's awesome. I like it. And I like the community in Texas. We get stuff like that going on. All right, so for this Dragon Lair, it was in Houston, 22-man event. Our first place winner was Ryan Young. He had Thousand Suns. Love seeing Thousand Suns again. We have Airman. He's not on a disc. We have an Exalted Sorcerer, an Infernal Master, Magnus again. Those Infernal Masters had the Vortex and the Crystal again, just to get that extra movement, and then that Vortex is going to get the extra damage output. Magnus is just doing his own shit again and just putting out a fuck ton of wounds. And a T-Sun Sorcerer with the Lord of Forbidden Lore. Something I'm noticing on these characters compared to the last list is the lack of mobility. Like, you need to have airmen on a disc, but obviously worked out really well. We have 1, 2, 3, probably 5, 4. Ooh, 4. Okay, 4 squads of rubrics. Same thing, Soul Reaper, Warp Flame. That's the way to go. They still put out a bunch of damage, and that Overwatch on them can be devastating.
Ooh, and the Rhino. It's hard to get to him.
Yep. And then we have a T-Sun's Rhino. So there's some of that mobility that we were missing from that other list, putting them in a Rhino. Rhinos are annoying as fuck to deal with sometimes, and they can also bump your units up the field really well. And then
I personally don't like Rhinos in T-Suns, only
Really?
because you don't get the Cabal points while they're in it. And this
Yeah.
list, I was counting it up, gets up 18 while everybody's on the board. So, like, putting a character in a squad inside of it, I'm, like, hurting on the inside, like, oh, my Cabal points.
Yeah.
And depending on the squad size, he might be taking like 2 squads in there.
Yeah, he could. And then we have a Vortex Beast, some Chaos Spawn. I love seeing Spawn in lists. My Death Guard list that I'm making has some Spawn in it. I think they're worth their weight in gold. And they're not slouches in melee. They do die sometimes to just being looked at. But they're action monkeys. They go on an objective and they annoy the shit out of people, or they go into your corners and do action.
And these have a 5-up invuln in the T-Suns
because
list.
they're T-Suns.
And they can just do it just fine out of reserve too.
Yep.
So it's like up.
100%. And then we have a squad of cultists and some Zangors again to score points. So very similar list to the one before. It's just putting out a fuck ton of damage. Different types of mobility in this list. And overall, good job. He played Orcs. Not with all the flamers that he has in that, I think Orcs got hurt real bad.
And he just won another event too. Mr.
Ryan Young or Matt Smith?
Okay. Well, Ryan Young.
Ryan Young. He's the one that had the list.
Yeah, didn't he win another event like last week or the week?
I think so. He might have.
Yeah.
But
The
he
name's
played Matt
familiar.
Smith's Orcs. Yeah. He played Joseph Rexar's Space Marines, and then he played Stephen Fox with AdMech. I think that AdMech matchup was probably one of his harder ones. That would have been really fun to watch, especially depending on the AdMech list, which I didn't pull up.
Yeah.
And Mr. Fox is an old hand at the AdMech too. So
Yep. No,
he's got all the toys he wants.
He's been a player that's been playing around, and then also we have Joseph Rexer. I'm going to give a shout out to him as well. He's one of the guys that makes all the terrain here. So
Including mine.
Yep. Yeah. All the terrain that we're going to be using at this upcoming event in Clutch. He makes all of your terrain, right?
Well, yes. Well, Veronica, his wife, helps design it too, and I think just as a power duo when it comes to terrain.
Yep. So another plug. Sorry for everybody for all the plugs, but hit up his website at rexerslasers.com. And
I know this is slightly off, but because I wanted to see how that T-Suns and AdMech interaction went, I had to pull up this AdMech list.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, he brought the chicken walkers. He brought 9 of the las cannons and 9 of the taser lances.
Hell
But
yeah.
Told you, he had the tools.
this unit of a man, Stephen Fox, also allied in Canis Rex.
Hell yeah.
I know. I've been thinking to do the same.
Honestly, I think that's a way harder matchup. Like, good job on Ryan, because that is significantly harder of a matchup, I feel like, to deal with. Like, I don't actually think that T-Suns has that much like dedicated anti-tank. And to have all the chicken walkers walking around with the innate ability to just disregard a lot of shots because they get the -1, they have the
I mean, we'll doombolt you with T-Suns, but I mean, we only get 2.
Yeah. So, hey man, good job on Ryan Young for that win against Stephen Fox. Then, if that's the list, that sounds kind of hard to go up against. So good job, Ryan. And then our last one from this event, because it was a big event. Oh no, it's not. That was our first one. My bad. Our next one is going to be David Smith. He ran Custodes. Love seeing Custodes again. So, and Custodes, we're going to see him a lot here in Texas. It's a super easy army to collect. Not a lot of models on the table, which makes it a very easy, fun game that can go by pretty quick. And they're really good right now. So he had a shield host. He played the name of his list was RTT2. So maybe it's his second version. He had a blade champion with Ceaseless Hunter, a blade champion with the Veiled Blade, and Trajan. So we're just getting all the extra abilities that we need from... I mean, those are the only really enhancements that you're going to see Custodes players taking, is the Ceaseless Hunter and the Veiled Blade.
I mean, with the clarification of how damage is part of the ignores reduction, Trajan is an auto-include now.
Yep. No, Trajan is
100%.
phenomenal for this list.
So,
Then we have just one Custodian Guard squad, and he's running something a little bit different with the big Alaris Custodians. So he's got the big squad of Terminators, and then a Grav tank, so the Calidus Grav tank, and it's got the heavy blaze cannon, so obviously the better option in my opinion. And then 3 squads of Wardens with the Vexella to make them just significantly more OC-like, and a Inquisitor. So
Draxus, ooh.
yeah, because depending on how the events rule, he can be attached to these Wardens units and things like that. Because he has that Inquisitor, and he can be attached.
Well, just battle line only, so I don't know if it's going to do the Wardens, but definitely the Guard.
Yeah, the Guard. Sorry, I messed that one up. He's going to get attached to the Guard. Like seeing this list, it's got a lot of the meat and potatoes that we're seeing, a lot with Custodes. So really, really good piloting there.
We say it's probably a she, but, we don't want to assume her gender.
David Smith?
No, the Draxus.
Oh, Draxus, my bad.
So, but even Mr. Smith, or Mrs., I don't know.
Yeah. The individual David Smith, he played against Jackson Carter with Necrons.
Boogeyman.
Yep, it's great to see like those two like S tier armies go up against each other, and then obviously Custodes came out on top. I think Necrons can have a real issue into Custodes, and I like to see.
His name is Trajan.
Yeah, it really is. It's like, hey, one of your better units in the game that's like really that like boogeyman unit are the Satans, and now they're not there. Nicholas Stewart with Dark Eldar, so he played another one of those really top tier armies, and then he played Grey Knights, and I think his hardest matchup was actually probably the Dark Eldar for the reasons that we talked before. I think it's one of those like definitely the army that like you want to play against but sometimes don't want to play against. And Dark Eldar was probably his hardest matchup, and I honestly think with that, if you played Hypercrypt, it would be Necrons. If not, it'd be that Grey Knights guy. So good job, David Smith. You crushed it, man. Strong work. let's go into the last one for this event, which is Casey Roberts.
With the ugliest list possible.
Dude, bro, Casey, let's talk about some list shit, my dude. Your list, I shortened it down, but it's like 24 to 40 pages. You included every special rule in the game. I don't know if you need to do that, my dude. It's really hard to read. So next time you load your list up, maybe
So
different.
take out inline rules. I think you took out the inline profiles, but I don't need the inline rules per se. I don't need every single ability spelled out. I just need to see the list. Same
Well,
thing.
his
Maybe he was doing it because it's an RTT, and he didn't know if like it was after lunch and somebody's reading through his list and like it can explain everything, so he doesn't have to. Could be the
Yeah, I
possibility.
mean, it's
Okay,
definitely it's definitely like you can't say you didn't have the information.
Yeah, no, he's like, hey, bro, there's no gotchas here. And I
Information
like it, dude.
overload. Just,
Hey,
I'm gonna hand you my codex. Go figure it out.
Casey,
Right?
good job on that. If that's the thing. But hey, Casey, as well, I apologize if I do miss anything because I'm trying to read through all this.
I try to circle the units.
Yeah,
and
we,
like,
we
there's just
tried
too much
to.
crap here.
So we have Gazgul. I think he's an auto take right now. He's super good. He was before. He continues to be really good, and I think orcs across the board are really good. He obviously comes with Bakari. We have Captain Badruck. Goes really well with those flash gets, makes him a lot better. Mazrog, Scragbad. Once again, I think this is another one of those auto take units. He is so fucking hard to kill, and his damage output is there. It's amazing. We have one Death Killer Wartrike with the character on it, and those are pretty good too. They can just go sit on an objective and annoy the hell out of people. We have a Knob with a banner with Cunning but Brutal. So you can shoot and charge in a turn in which you fell back, which can be really good depending on what unit he attached that to. We have 1-2 war bosses. Man, a lot of characters in this one.
Remember, the war boss is the Follow Me Lads. And
Oh, yeah.
If you go back.
Yep. So follow me, lads. Sorry.
And then the other knob of banner has
Yeah, I already talked about that.
Okay.
The Cunning but Brutal. Yeah, he has the follow me, lads. So an extra 2 inches to movement. We have another war boss. I wonder if you're. I don't know. There's a lot of war bosses. I mean, they're really good. I want to see what I actually didn't look at this list until right now, so I want to see what units they're attached to, and another war boss. So we have 3 war bosses, a fuck ton of characters.
My favorite part is just not a horde of squigs swallowed by more squigs.
This is true.
So hey.
So next we have a big squad of boys. We have a Flash Gits squad. I love seeing the Flash Gits, especially when they come out of trucks or just from the board edge. A squad of Gretchen, a squad of Meganobs, another squad of Gretchen, and that's a little squad of Meganobs too. It's only looks like.
Is that 3 bodies?
3? Yeah, 3 or 2.
Extra wounds for Gazgul.
Yep.
What's it? Yeah,
Extra
I think
wounds
they're
for
going with
Gazgul.
Gazgul. And then a Knobs, a Warbike squad, obviously just to move around, get some action ability. A Battle Wagon, which I love seeing, and a Truck Man. And
trucks,
another
I
truck.
think.
Cool. So everybody's mounted up. They're going in trucks, or they're walking on the board, and they're walking with Gazgul.
Come on, dude.
It's such a big list.
And this is scaled down.
It makes a lot of sense. Honestly, this is a little bit similar to the list that this is very similar to what Sean Naden played when I played him at LVO. So it's got some other nuances in there. So obviously you piloted it super well, man. Good job. First thing you played against is Knights. I think that's a really solid matchup to go into. Knights can sometimes be a little bit hard to deal with. But once you pop that wah and you're running in there, the orcs are doing what they're doing, which is
And he's
shit.
missing all the beast snaggers, so he doesn't have all those innate rerolls in there.
Yeah.
And John Sonnenberg is a nice guy. I don't think he's a pushover by any means. So like, more power to you.
Yeah. The next one is Brandon Smith, who played Custodes. Can be a hard matchup. I think Custodes actually sometimes will not be as good into that horde meta. And then Colin Coons playing Space Marines. So good job, Roberts. You obviously crushed it. Next time you load your list, take off like 30 of the pages.
Thereabouts.
Yeah. So, hey, strong work there for those guys. And that was over at the Dragon's Lair in Houston.
Casey Roberts sounds familiar too.
Yeah, a lot
maybe
of
not
these names-
for winning, but he
I
does
mean,
sound
especially because
familiar.
I've been doing this now. This is like week 3, so real long time doing this podcast. But a lot of these names are just starting to sound familiar again.
You know
which
what?
Is awesome.
I don't think he's made it to the Alamo yet. So just saying, Casey.
Okay, hey Casey, come on over to the Alamo. All right, so our next event is going to be the CGG February RTT over in Dallas. So this is that other Dallas event that I was talking about. This is a 16-man event, and we had 2 undefeated players. First one is a guy that is known all across Texas, I believe, which is Clifton Murica Russell. If you guys see him at an event, he will probably be wearing extremely short American shorts and looks like he only eats meat. So he's an absolute beast of a human being and a fantastic person to play against and hang out with.
I love him.
Yep.
Buy him a
so
drink.
his, huh?
Said buy him
Yeah,
a
buy him a
drink.
drink. Yeah. So his list, right? We have Astra Militarum. It's great to see it again. Gaunt's Ghost, that auto take that I was talking about before. Lord Solar, another auto take. And then he's got a platoon command squad to make Lord Solar a little bit better. Catachan Jungle Fighters, which he probably attaches some of that stuff to.
Or they might be in the transport for a move forward because they have scout.
They might be. A Bulgrin squad, another Bulgrin squad, and these are 3-man Bulgrin squads. A Hellhammer, so I love seeing the Hellhammer, man.
Seen a Hellhammer.
Yeah,
No.
we'll get there. So we have one Hellhammer, right? It's got that Hellhammer cannon. If you can pull that up real quick, so we can talk about that. And then following the first Hellhammer is another Hellhammer, and then another Hellhammer. So 3 of those super heavy tanks, and that Hellhammer profile is the one that I thought of. Yeah. So it is that 4d6 shots with blast, ignores cover, strength 7, -1 for 2 damage. That can be absolutely devastating to a lot of units, man. Like it can be just so many shots. It's super swingy, and that's it's
So
great
was
to
he
see.
taking the all heavy flamers, or he's mixing in the heavy bolters? Okay, because
He
you need
didn't
the
take
range.
any heavy flamers.
You need the range.
Yep. And the reason that he didn't take the heavy flamers, in my opinion, is because they can't Overwatch anymore too.
Yeah.
So, because you
Yeah.
used to see them everywhere, now you don't. So it's all heavy bolters. And then a Scion squad and a Calidus. And obviously those are just his 2 Action Monkey squads, which makes a lot of sense to go with his Gaunt's Ghost because a predominant amount of his list is Hellhammers, which is amazing. So his first matchup,
Their
What's
toughness
he,
13 as well. Yeah, that's why I was looking. David already knew what I was gonna say. Yeah, their toughness 13. Ooh.
dude, they're not. Seeing one of those tanks can sometimes be difficult for an army to chew through. Seeing 2, you're like, holy fuck. And then seeing 3, you're like, hell yeah. Like this individual is committed to like raining down hell on their opponent.
And the thing is, you might make the mistake. It's like, you know what? I'm just gonna go bring it down. I'm gonna kill them and be fine. No, you're not gonna kill them. You might get 1. You might stretch for 2.
You'll probably kill 2, and then just like maybe try and
Here's the
overwhelm
rest
your
of the
opponent.
army.
Yeah. But most of the rest of the army has like lone up, except for the Scions, and then you can just hide Lord Solar and just leave him 24 inches away from the tanks. It's actually like it can be a super sneaky list, I think. So he played against Blood Angels, against James Buchanan. I think that's with all of that damage too coming at him with the ignores cover, so you're automatically putting most of the Space Marines on a 4-up can be really devastating. He played Gabriel Bogman next with Leagues of Votan. I didn't actually look at this list. I hope he was running Grav. If he wasn't, it's a very clear reason why he kind of struggled into that list. Without the Grav, Leagues of Votan actually doesn't have a lot of good anti-vehicle. And then we have the Brian...
+1 and 1 on bolters, and
Bustos.
the equipment doesn't do a lot.
Yeah.
So versus a big tank.
Because you're just going from 6s to 5s at T13. Yeah. And he was playing Soriatis. I actually think his hardest matchup was probably the Sisters. Just because that Morven Vol unit, it can come in and actually nuke one of those tanks pretty reliably. Because they come in super close and then they just nuke them.
And chances are there's units on top of units in that Sisters list, so they're everywhere they need to be.
Yeah, so...
Damn, Cliff.
Dude, yeah, Cliff. The good running. I love seeing all the tanks. I like it, man. Good job. Next one is going to be Chad Lapham, or Lapham. I apologize if I said your name a little bit wrong. And we are running Dark Angels.
We can just skip him. It's just Chad. Nobody cares about him.
Oh, everybody likes Chad. So his Dark Angels list, right? Ironstorm Spearhead. We see that a lot. Only one character, though. With obviously the target auger web. So it's going to help his vehicles be able to do things a little bit better. And then we have 1, 2 Inceptor squads with assault bolters as his infantry. And we're moving on to vehicles. This is one I like a lot. We have 1, 2, 3 Ballistus. Is it
Brutalis.
No, Ballistus.
Oh, he's got the
Ballistus first.
Ballistus.
He's got 3 Ballistus, right? Followed by 2 Brutalis, followed by a Gladiator, the Valiant, followed by an Invictor, and then a Repulsor Executioner and a Repulsor Executioner. I fucking love this. I would have loved to see this event because you have your number 1 person running 3 Hellhammers, That's fucking phenomenal. And then your number 2 person is running like 90% of his list is dreadnoughts or dreadnought like
affiliated
chassis. Yeah. Plus just 2 big tanks and then a gladiator. Like, that's phenomenal. Obviously, this put out just a shit ton of shooting. This sounds devastating. Like, for real. I don't know why we haven't seen something similar to this before. I can only guess that it actually may have an issue scoring. And, like, God forbid your opponent had any anti-vehicle, predominantly based army. You're gonna really start to suffer. But holy shit.
Taser goats. Taser
Dude.
chickens. How you doing?
Yeah. Anti-walker 2-up, right? Like, that would hurt them a lot.
Well,
damn.
so with the Brutalis, he isn't going to get that close. So, like, by the time you even get there, you have to fight through the Brutalis. You have to fight through the Invictors.
You know what I do with those Brutalis if I played them? I bring them in from the side.
Yeah,
I don't need anything else on the fucking board.
You know,
I've already got 6 other dreadnoughts that are like the large base dreadnoughts. Like, I can only imagine his deployment zone. Like, you can't hide that army. Like, he's got to be like, all right.
I mean,
So-
like, your priority to hide is probably the Executioner, because
100%.
yeah,
That is what you want to hide. Is those
So
executioners,
I
'cause they're
don't
putting out
have the
most
Space Marine Codex, so I don't actually know the name of it. Which enhancement is that target augury web?
That's the one. It's the Iron.
Is that the
Stone,
lethal
but he's
hits?
gonna look it up.
Yeah.
Yes, I believe so. But it
that's
just makes them a
gross.
lot more killy. Yeah.
Oh,
And
by
it's an
far.
aura.
Consistent killy. Yeah.
With lethal
while the
hits,
friendly
correct?
model is within 6 inches of the bearer, you have lethal hits. Yep.
Yeah,
So, like,
that's
I
So
think
fantastic.
even all the small arms that's coming with the executioner and stuff like that is just going to do really, really well.
Yep.
So Chad played against Robert Irving with Astra Militarum. Bro. Like, I feel bad for the Astra Militarum player because it's like, oh, you have takes? That's cool. I don't care. I would have loved to see this list play against Clifton's list because it's like, who's going to fuck up who first? He played TJ Bruce with Demons, and I actually think his Demon list was a Monster Mash list. I think it was another big Demons list.
I
talked
probably
to
seen
him
that list on Tabletop Warriors, right? Because they had that channel out.
Yeah.
So,
I'm actually pulling
Yeah,
it up.
TJ Bruce does the Tabletop Warriors, and we'll talk about that a little bit at the end of the podcast as well, or the end of the channel. I don't even know what the fuck to call these YouTube things. Like, it's a podcast or a channel. I don't know. I think I'm gonna podcast it eventually. But hey, and last one is Benjamin Highland. Benjamin, shame on you. You're getting the shame. Upload your list, my dude.
Oh.
Yeah. But hey, Chad, strong showing, man. I love looking at this. This is phenomenal. I wish I went to that event. Just because the 2 undefeateds are just fucking vehicle heavy, just in your face. Dunzos.
So, like, I want to love the triple Hellhammer list, but I actually think Chad's list is my favorite for the weekend so far.
I do. I kind of have to agree. I like the effort that was put into the triple hammer or Hellhammer. Sorry. But I think it actually has more shooting than Chad, or not more shooting, more scoring than Chad's does because he has the lone ups. Like, Chad didn't even bring a Calidus. Like, what do you do? Just
why
take
would
fixed
you?
and take take teleport homers and I don't even know what the other fixed you would
Actually,
take that
he
was.
might
Maybe
actually have
engage,
to do,
engage and teleport homers because it's kind of
probably,
easy.
like, just use the 2 Victors to do cleanse first up, because you just start right there and you move your army forward slowly but surely.
Yeah, that's an option. He could have done fixed with cleanse. I don't know what the fuck he took. Obviously worked out well. Like, I love seeing these lists. That's why I like looking at a lot of these RTTs, because you see some cool shit. All right, so our next event. Hey, good job to those guys at the CGG February RTT over there in Dallas, Texas. The next one that we're going to do is the 3rd largest event this weekend, which, once again, our reigning champ, actually, we've talked about him for the last 2 episodes, haven't had him on, but this is at the Battle Pub February RTT in San Antonio. And that is Mr. David Villareal.
I had to go. I was bringing terrain for the event, so I was like, oh, I'm here anyways.
Yeah, showed up and just fucking crushed face. So I'm going to read out your list, and we'll talk about kind of some of the things, and we'll go from there. Yep. He wanted me to point out the name. I was going to read the name. I usually read out a lot of the cool names. We haven't had that many this time, and I think he did this on purpose. But he did Adios, Robatos, Hola, Mas Polo. Or Pollo. Polo. Dude, I saw Styx Tuesday, and that Adios Robatos reminded me of that. They played it at the end. It was pretty good. But all right, so let's rock into this list. So we're playing the Explorator Maniple. Sorry, English. We've got a Tech Priest Manipulus. We've got a Techno-Archaeologist. And we have another Techno-Archaeologist. The enhancements that he have is the Logos and the Megos. What does Logos do?
So Logos is I'm going to have +1 hit if I'm shooting at my target objective.
Okay.
So at least when I'm shooting at those units, I might also get it if I'm on the objective. I probably don't, but
Okay.
Main thing is it's like, oh, great, coming from reserves. I'm gonna like, that's my objective. I need to kill it. Even if I can get the rerolls to hit, I'd rather be hitting on a 3+ than a 4+. So
That makes sense. And then what's the Magos do?
the Magos, so he's interesting. What his main job is to give me the bonus CP. There's not that many. There's not that many stratagems I can use in the list that I built, but having the extra CP to take advantage of those stratagems is probably what makes, I think, Explorer Manitowoc better than the Skitarii cohort. So that's what that's there for.
Is this similar to the list that you brought tonight?
It's a 90% similar.
I'm excited to see this on the table. Then we have that Techno-Archaeologist as well that's in there that we already talked about a little bit. So we have 1 squad of Skitarii Rangers, 2 squads, 3 squads. So one of those squads at 90 points. What do we do there? Why is that Rangers a little bit? Oh, it's the Rangers. Sorry, that's why.
So Rangers are slightly more expensive than
Yep.
Vanguard.
That makes sense.
Sticky objectives.
Yeah. And then we have a 1, 2, 3, I believe, squads of the Iron Strider Ballistari with the las cannons. We know what those do. They're pretty decently durable defensively, and then they shoot the twin-linked las cannons. Then we
I
have
like
a
them in
squad.
2-mans because it ignores the battle shock.
And we were just talking about this too. What it does, and I'm stealing David's thunder. David, what does it do?
So the issue I had is on a real competitive board, you can't get all 3 in the same squad to get line of sight without blocking other movement. So chances are you're just gonna have to go to a 2-man squad.
And that makes a lot of sense with all the chicken walker bodies that you run. So the next one we have up is the Cataphragm Breachers. Do you want to walk around, or do you want to walk me through what they do for you?
So the main thing there is by the time I have whether I'm coming from reserves or not, I'm gonna have 4-ups to hit rerollable or 3-ups to hit if they're at the right target.
Okay.
They're just mainly there to be that flat damage 3, that bit of damage. What I've learned in my games is you either take 1 squad or you take 3 squads. You can get away with none. They're just too expensive for what they do. 3 is your overload point. When I take 3, rarely do I lose all 3, but they're just so expensive. So the 1 that's what does it with that +1 to hit. So they're there. Damage 3. Their melee is scary. You don't want to get close to them, and it's scary. They actually don't have that many attacks, but their range. If I'm coming from reserves, chances are they're 4 shots each. Chances are they're rolling all hits. So 4 times 6, 24 shots.
That's a lot.
Yeah.
That can be a very good
And with
damage
the
output.
Manipulus, they're also lethal hits. So they're also they're an Overwatch threat.
They are. I've experienced that. They shoot a metric fuck ton, and they do really good. We have a Sterilizer Squad. Obviously, that's there just to be a little bit damaging, but you get some.
Their main job is they're coming from Deep Strike and they're just doing action monkeys.
Infiltrator, is that just to deny your opponent that movement, maybe?
That on the off chance I come up against World Eaters and the like, but my main issue is I've been using them to help screen Scout Sentinels from AdMech.
Okay, that makes sense.
And actually, like I said, it was 90% similar. I dropped the squad for Sterilizers.
Okay.
Or for another squad of
Sterilizers.
tonight.
Okay,
So
cool. And then we have
they don't do
1
anything in
squad,
melee.
2 squads, 3 squads of just single man dragoons with the Giselles.
Yep, that's the extra polio on the list.
Yeah, I like it. It's fun to see. Obviously, like their damage output isn't as good as the taser lances,
No, so
but they're still hard to kill.
so their main job there is kind of like I'll put them reserved. They come back do actions, but they're actually there to hunt down the Calidus.
Okay.
So 2 of them come from reserve. Chances are I'm gonna
it.
I'm gonna have rerolls to hit, and it's anti-infantry 3+. So I'm probably gonna
you're hunting after a character that is frequently brought in lists. That's
And then
phenomenal.
chances are I won't kill her, but they'll charge. Between the 2 of them charging, 1 of them should make it. I'm gonna do what do you call that? Tank shot.
Tank shot?
I'm gonna kill the Calidus. Just be like, I'm done with her. She came in, she scored you 5 points at best, and then she's gone.
Yeah.
Right? But there's 3 of them on the list because what do you call those? Cannon Talk. They're the character that's with the Wraiths.
Technomancer.
Technomancer. I was like,
I believe it's only 3 wounds.
Yeah.
I'm rerolling
yeah,
hits.
it's like-
it's not super strong.
Yeah, he's got
So-
3 or 4, not very many.
Yeah, so I'm rerolling hits against that character or the squad, and it goes to the character.
Yeah.
And I'm rerolling anti-infantry 3+. So
Have
all
you
right.
thought about instead bringing their lone op sniper?
No. So I
just wanted to hear him say it.
I bought the model. The thing is, it is so bad, and for 20 points more, you can just get the Eversor Assassin. I painted a new one just for the army of both of them. So I got the Eversor and I got the new guy, and there's no way I'm gonna take the new guy. He's unusable.
Yep. And then we have 3 squads next, maxed out of dragoons with those taser lances.
Yeah, taser chickens.
They can
Knight's
be
best
melee
friend.
menaces. Yeah, it's Knight's best friends. Any walker, they're just deleting pretty reliably, and they're not slouches against everything else. And they also have that fallback and charge too, right?
Yep. So they get to reroll too for the emergency. What is it? It's not disembarked with.
Disengage.
Disengage. Yeah.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I fell on 1 or 2. It's yet to happen where I've just outright lost the dude.
Yeah.
And by the time I'm doing it, chances are I have only 1 or 2 models left anyway. So losing one guy would hurt a lot.
That would.
But
And the last unit. Oh, sorry.
Yeah, I want to ask you. So they hit on 4s. Has that affected anything because of sustained hits?
Sustained hits too.
sustained hits.
Yeah.
Too. So the army has a hard time dealing with any negatives to hit, let alone negatives to 1. It's rough.
Yeah.
So I'm really fishing for the 6s, but there's no rerolls in the army anyways.
Yeah.
Maybe rerolls to 1, but you're just kind of stuck. Like, does it go off or does it not go off?
Have you played into Drakari yet? Because they have a lot of negatives to hit.
I know.
Okay.
Yeah. So
That'll be an interesting
them
matchup.
and Golden Boys are like, crap, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
Let them face each
Yeah.
other apparently because Drakari seems to be winning that matchup.
And then the last thing that you have in your list is going to be our kind of Imperium auto take, the Calidus Assassin. It just scores too many points to not take it.
If I was taking Skitarii cohort, I could ignore her because you have so many to pick up, pick down. But
Yeah.
I don't have that uppy downy game without her in my list.
All right. So your opponents that we played Brandon Cruxton.
So he was a noob. He tried to be nice, but
Those
like
poor noobs.
I'm gonna club that seal, and I don't want to lose the game because he took 45 minutes to do his first turn. So
Okay, so that's the guy you clocked.
yeah, so
happens.
I clocked all 3. I didn't need to clock the knights. Actually, I might have skipped out on the knights, but that one was like I'm gonna have to. And there was a random passerby. It's actually someone I know, an author, just taking the day off. He's like, I watch games, and he's like, I don't know why he's talking so much. It's like I don't know, but it's on his time. He's doing it.
That's weird.
Yeah.
Our next one was Will Ivy playing IG, and then we have you playing Aaron Kelman.
So
above all 3 of those, which one was your hardest matchup?
guard.
Okay. Why so? What happened with that list?
So the main issue I think is probably the forward moving stuff. If you forward move, yes, I'm gonna get my charges more likely, sure, but it's more stuff for me to deal with, and he had that. On top of that, the basilisk, they just completely stopped the Cataphrone breachers from moving anywhere.
Okay, that
So-
makes sense.
It's like if I'm on the wrong side of the wall, I might not clear the wall if I'm -2 or -4 by the time I advance.
Yeah.
So with the 5-inch movement, yeah. So
Well, shit, man. Hey, dude, good job. Like, good job for the last. He's been placing first at an event in the last 3 weekends that he's gone to. So good job.
Hat
You
trick.
had a good, huh?
hat trick.
Yep, good job. You've got it. His next event's clutch. Let's see how he does.
No,
Honestly,
actually, we're
No.
me and him are-
He's
we're gonna be at
so-
Bastrop.
He,
Saturday?
he's
fuck,
got
there's an event
he's
this
got
weekend. Yep,
he's
my
got to
bad.
fight with Kelman to figure out if there's a ringer game, which one of them gets to pick to play me. I'll make him do rock paper scissors.
okay.
I mean, we're driving up there, so as long as we play 3 games, great.
Yeah.
So,
And I forgot there was even. I honestly, I thought this weekend was Bastrop or not Bastrop. Jeez, I thought it was clutch.
that's the following weekend.
We got another weekend to go. All right, cool. Well, hey, try to go undefeated until clutch. That'd be awesome. All right. Well, hey, man, good job. Our next one for this Battle Pub February RTT is going to be Joshua Sales. He's running Salamanders.
Yeah,
Man.
he was there. So that's near and dear to my heart.
He was running the
Gladius.
with a Biologus, a captain with Biologus with Fire Discipline, a Captain Gravis Armor with the Honor of Vehement, yeah, that's right, there we go. A Librarian, a Lieutenant, and 1 Intercessor Squad, an Aggressor Squad, the Ballistus, the Dreadnought again, GW, fuck you guys for naming all the Space Marine shit crazy ass names this edition.
Pseudo Latin, Gothic,
Bro. Some of
All
them
the
are
same
ridiculous. Yeah. Also, GW, I love you. Thank you for making this game. Eliminator Squad. And they're going to be with the Bolt Snipers. 1 Eradicator, 2 Eradicators, all with 3-man. 1 Infiltrator Squad, an Executioner, a Stern Guard Veteran Squad, a Suppressor Squad, a Terminator Squad, a Whirlwind, and that's it, man. Looking at that list, a lot of all over the place.
Well, the Librarian, that surprises people with the when you attach them to Terminators.
Yep, I can imagine. It's because he increases their damage output, right?
Something along those lines. I think it's lethal hits or exploding hits. So.
And then the Lieutenant with the combi weapon is just there to be that lone op kind of action monkey. This list looks like it scores really well and
Sustained hits.
Sustained hits. Yes, that can be really strong. And with that Gladius just being able to do what you need to do when you want to do it obviously worked really well for this list. So strong work, man. You played Dwayne Brown running Custodes. That's a good win. Custodes right now, even if you're playing the most meta or least meta Custodes list that exists, they only have like 5 fucking things in their codex to run, and Wardens is one of those things, along with Trajans. That's a solid win. You played John Hale with T-Sons, and then Will Ivy again with Astra Militarum. So solid win on that one, Josh. You guys got any save runs on this one? Anything to say?
Ivy, you were playing down into Ivy at that point.
Yeah.
Because he was undefeated, but Ivy and I, we had a very close game. It was a 2-point game, so you weren't playing that far down.
Yeah.
So.
No, that's a solid win. That's a solid showing, man. Good job. All right, and our last one from this February RTT at Battle Pub is going to be Tim McGinty. I've seen Tim McGinty a lot. He's a local San Antonio guy. Fantastic person to play against, and he either runs 2 of my, honestly, top favorite armies, which are Necrons or Blood Angels. And he is a phenomenal painter as well. So good job, Tim, for getting this win.
And he's kind of a smart player. Like
super
I didn't
smart.
see that coming.
Yeah.
So I love my games with him.
Yep.
I just don't necessarily enjoy playing the game at that moment.
I actually don't even know what this one does. Can you look up Awakened Dynasty? He's running Awakened Dynasty.
I think that's the OG one.
That is
Where-
the OG one, right?
Yeah, like if you're leading with the character, you get +1 to hit.
Yeah. So, an interesting option, right? Necrons are still super good across the board. Yeah, see, add 1 to the hit roll if a character model is leading the unit. I like it. Honestly, I think there are some better options, but he obviously piloted it well enough that he didn't need to use that Hypercrypt or that Canoptic Court. He's running a Nightbringer. It's one of those auto takes we see a lot of times in these Necrons list. A Plasmancer with the Veil of Darkness. A Scorpec Lord, a Technomancer with the Nether Realm Casket, and then a Transcendent Satan. So double Satans. He's running a 10-mana Immortal, some Scorpex, obviously, to go along with that Scorpec Lord, just to give him that extra damage output. A couple of Destroyers with the Gauze Cannons. A 6-man squad of Wraiths. And then 1 Doomstalker, 2 Doomstalkers, and a Doomsday Arc with a Triarch Stalker, which is one that you don't see that often. That Heat Ray can still be pretty good. It's just you're sacrificing some of that long distance range that you want with those heavy weapons to get up close with kind of a flimsy unit. Overall, I like how this list looks. I'm sure it was absolutely fun to pilot because you're not using all those tricks that everybody else normally sees. Just like how David said, he's a very smart player, and he obviously played a dynasty that you don't normally see. So that Awakened Dynasty, some players might be like, holy shit, your army does what now? Which could pretty much surprise him pretty well. He played up against Tyranids, against Gabriel Garcia, and then Frank Rowan with Dark Eldar. Solid win there. I think Dark Eldar is a really hard matchup, especially when you don't have the Hypercrypt and you're jumping around with Necrons.
I'm glad I didn't have to play him. Perk of the randomizing winners versus winners. Swiss, but
because Dark Eldar can be absolutely devastating in this list, but you obviously crushed it, man. And then Jacob Shugart with Space Marines.
A pretty standard Gladius list, but you know it's still not a pushover. So, I mean, I'm rocking C tier cyborgs, and Marines are doing better. So.
I think cyborgs are B. I think everything's like B or A right now, and then there's some S's. I don't think there's any. Can you think of, David? Can you think of any like C tier armies that you honestly think like right now aren't really performing that well?
So, I think honestly, a lot of things can just be in the eyes of whoever's holding the army. Mm-hmm. But if I were to say if I look across the table and go, oh, easy game, I'm not sure I could actually say that right now.
No,
Because
I can't.
I think that
I can, but only
maybe
against
Knights.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was about to say Knights. So Knights, honestly, like could still use a little love, but
But
not
Knights are
points.
one of those gatekeepers. Knights are going to go to an event. They're probably going to do 4-2 because they're gonna go to like a major event or something, do 4-2. I think I really do. They're still a gatekeeper list.
And for me, I'm anti-Walker 2+. So
I regardless what army I play, if I see Knights across the board, I think I can outplay them just generally because I don't
Yeah.
have to worry about Overwatch. I'm not scared
Yep.
of a thermal cannon firing 2 shots at me. If it hits, okay, that hurts. But it's not, the odds aren't in the favor, and if they're spending their CP on that, that's a victory in my book.
Yeah, I can 100% see that. But yeah, I love the state of the game right now. I think that like GW is really getting it down where they're actually getting things relatively balanced.
I would say I was surprised at how scary 3 to 4 big Knights can actually be.
Yep.
And I saw
That's
that
fact.
from Brandon, and I saw that from Aaron. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
Aaron's list was I think much harder because he had the 3 baby Knights. So
He was able to move around and score a lot easier.
yeah. So it's not as easy of a pushover as I thought it would be after dealing with Lucio and his Knights to going into Aaron in the following weekend. It's like, oh, I got this. And like, oh no,
I agree with that.
It's closer than I thought. So it's still gonna be list build. Maybe nothing's a complete pushover right now, and that's a great play to state of play in general.
I agree with that. All right, man. Well, hey, Tim, once again, man, good job for going undefeated. Strong work. Hope to get to play you soon, dude. All right, and then our next one, we have 2 more events left. These are some of the smaller ones. So we have the Sci-Fi Factory February Fight. This was a 9-man in Fort Worth, Texas. And our number 1, the only undefeated for this, since it was a 9-man, is going to be Lewis Hernsworth. So he's playing Custodes. And this, once again, is that pretty standard Custodes list, like I said a second ago. They really only have so many options that they can take in their codex, even with the add-on from taking any of the Forge World stuff.
Hell, I just bought a new Blade Champion myself from my prize winning, so I get where you're coming from.
The Blade Champion's like an auto take with that Veiled Blade.
Absolutely.
It just makes them so much better. And those once a game like super spikes that they get are really strong. So we have a Blade Champion with the Veiled Blade. We have a Shield Captain with Ceaseless Hunter. We have Trajan again, like we said, with the changes they made to like wound negation and all that stuff, where it just blanket stops all of it. Really strong.
And a key point, the Blade Champion is like your cheapest character anyways.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
And then we had 1, 2, 3 guard squads.
how big?
The 5-mans actually. So he had 3 max guard squads. So he was running something a little bit different. He wasn't running the wardens. Those guard squads though are still nothing to laugh at. Like you still have
Reroll
that
wounds.
Yep, you're still in a fuck ton of bodies just sitting on objectives or charging forward with that champion and that
And
shield.
all
cap.
spears, so they actually have decent shooting. And it's AP1 damage too. Not you think it's not that big a deal until you keep taking those saves. So,
And shooting twice once per game for each of those units.
Yeah, it can be a lot of damage output. And then we have 2 3-man Alaris squads, so you can use that obviously to get objectives or just being annoying as fuck with like 3 really good Terminators on the board.
so he probably could have got away with 3 2-man squads.
He could have. I think he had the extra points though.
I mean,
Honestly, looking at this list, the only thing that I would
He
have
did-
to say is an assassin.
He does have 30 points left over in this list.
Yeah, and if he dropped those down to the 2-man, he could have easily brought the assassin. Food for thought, brother. If you want to make some edits to your list, obviously it did really well.
you still won your game, so
I mean, absolutely. You went undefeated, my man.
Yeah, no, we're just adding some extra things that we may have done. Still, good job. And then we have 2 Calidus grav tanks. I think we're going to see a lot of those moving forward.
I still don't own any, and every time I see them, it's like I'm doing something wrong.
I like seeing them on the board because I'm like, fuck yeah, they're going to die turn 2. Because I have so much grav that always comes in, especially with Votan.
I own 4 Land Raiders, and I still don't have one of these.
Like every time I play against Custodes, I'm like, alrighty, turn 2, I know they're going to be 400 points down regardless of what else I kill.
So I own all the custodes I could ever need, but I just don't have the drive to change all my axes into spears.
Yep. Because the axes aren't good anymore.
No.
They're really not at that AP1. You literally are taking a weapon that most armies just can one
And you're hitting on
negate.
3s.
And the connection point is so off. Like, how do I get this on there?
Yeah. But yeah, those 3 are the 2 grav tanks, and then that's it, man, for the list. Hey, stuff you play against Knights. I actually, with this list, I think Knights might be a really hard matchup. Because if they're able to get the lines of sight on your anti-tank, which are those grav tanks, the rest of your stuff sometimes may only be wounding on 5s, even with those rerolls.
Oh, well, he does have Rendax, I think, for like lethal hits. He's got the vitamin attacks. Maybe sustained hits might be the way to go. He's got some play, and he killed a guy. So all right, I got more attacks.
Yeah, it could still be a hard matchup.
Yeah.
And then he played into Space Marines, and then he played, that was Mark Pledger. Sorry, the first one was Jesse Schroeder. Whatever. Then Mark Pledger played Space Marines, and then he played into Adam Harden, which did Eldar. And I didn't actually look at the Eldar list. I probably should have. Would love to see what that is, because Eldar is still they're now an A tier. They're not a completely broken S tier. With all the nerfs, point increases, changes on fate dice, they're now that A tier army that's still pretty reliable.
I don't want to have to face them.
Yeah. So, and especially if that Eldar player was running even 2 Night Spinners, that can hurt Custodes. And I think that's why we're seeing the prevalence of Custodes now.
No Night Spinners.
Huh?
No Night Spinners.
Right?
Two Falcons, though.
Because Night Spinners went up so much in points, and the nerfs to
210.
indirect, you don't see them anymore. And because of that, Custodes are like, hey, we can move across the board again.
And devastating wounds aren't as scary as they used to be.
Yep, 100%. So, hey, good job to Louis Hersman. Strong work, man, for getting undefeated at that Sci-Fi Factory February fight in Fort Worth. All right, our last event, but last but not least, was the TCG February RTT. This is in Friendswood, Texas. This is a 12-man event, and we had 2 players go undefeated at this. So our first one is Kevin Rand, and it's Death Guard. I love seeing Death Guard because I just bought Death Guard, and they're right back there. They need to be painted.
We were just chatting about that.
Yeah, they need to be painted because I want to start playing this army, and I love seeing all these lists that have Death Guard because I'm like, I
And this
actually
podcast
bought
is
the
the
right
reason
shit.
why they're not getting painted right
Yeah.
now.
So we have just a Plague Company, right? So he's got those auras going around that make negatives to your opponent, which can be really good. We have a Biologus. That's one of those auto takes. He put the drowning in the aura just to make stuff a little bit better.
I like that.
The Lord of Virulence, yeah. So I am playing a Lord of Virulence in my list. I really like it when he comes in with either I have him going with the Terminator, but he also works really well with the Death Shrouds. I actually think he works better. I just didn't buy any Death Shrouds because I'm dumb.
Well, you only have so much money from your winning from LVO, so
Yeah.
there's time. There's time.
I'll get some. And then he had Mortarion. Same thing with Trajan. That's going to be one of those auto-take characters, I think, now moving forward. With any list that has the access to negate any wound modification or any modification to anything but saves. Yeah, the damage modification, sorry. Being able to negate that, it's one of those auto-takes.
And he's not Titanic.
Yeah, and he's not Titanic.
There's so many little buildings, like, you can't see me.
Yeah.
With his wing spread, it's still kind of hard to hide him.
Yeah.
But, no, he's great.
is.
And I think he's a little cheap for what he does.
I do too. 325 is not bad. And then he has Typhus. So we have one big squad of Plague Marines, and that's it. And he's running that pretty standard. A lot of Plague Knives, a bunch of Plague Weapons, so he's making it the more melee variants.
And we were just talking about that, too.
Yeah.
Look.
And then he has a Death Guard Rhino, obviously for those Plague Marines to go inside of, just to make them a little bit faster, get them up the board. And then the Rhinos can kind of block some stuff as you need it. And then 1-2 Predator Annihilators. This is kind of the option that we're seeing now instead of Plague Burst Crawlers, just because their damage output never gets turned down.
So if it happens to go through, that's a 10, and it's like, it hits half damage. No half damage.
Yep.
I got Mortarion right here saying,
I have a friend.
Yes. My friend's here to help me out.
Papa Nurgle said no.
Dude, and it's like, it's one of those things too, is that like that Overwatch 2 with Mortarion being over there, like you don't have to worry about a lot of things. It can be really good with those tanks, especially keeping them around Morty.
Or not just Overwatch, countercharge.
Yep.
It's like, hold on. Do I want to get close? I don't know. Do you?
Yeah. Maybe I'll do some wounds to Morty, maybe not even kill him, but then I have to deal with all these Annihilator shots. So I like seeing them. We were just talking about this too. Death Shroud Terminators. So big, huge squad of Death Shroud Terminators, like I said.
Yeah.
That's kind of the better option to take than just the Terminators, which is what I'm running.
It's because of this Plague Spurt.
Yep. 3 Plague Burst Crawlers.
Oh,
so
he still took them.
Super heavy tank. And the Plague Burst Crawlers are a little bit more expensive than those Predator Annihilators by 50 points. Actually, quite a bit more expensive. But you get the indirect. And with Mortarion, you don't have to worry about any damage negation or anything like that. So it can be really
it's still
strong.
a good tool to have. Like, Oh, his Gretchen are getting the bonus CP.
Yeah.
Not if I kill him.
Yep.
So, yeah, he's got all the tools there.
Yeah, he really does. And then a 20-man squad of Poxwalkers. I know where that's going. It's going Typhus. It is a blob that comes on the board, and it makes Typhus a, 26 wound character that's really hard to fucking deal with. And then a squad of Nurglings just to do some actions as he comes in.
Or maybe emergency screen.
Possibly.
Yeah.
The
I
ones
love
that
optional
actually-
units.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you can start on the board. A lot of times I've seen him just
to
walk
stop
on.
that emergent, there's that one unit in the game. He's got scout move. It's a big old squad. I
Yeah.
don't want to have to deal with it turn 1 because I can't get to it turn 1.
Yeah.
Death Guard being relatively slow. Okay, you know what? I don't need to score these points just yet. I need to keep you back.
100%. I agree with that. So he played Aaron Rosenfield first round with Astra Militarum, then Bernard Clark with AdMech. And I would love to see how it went into AdMech, and then Tim Frisbee with Tyranids.
So this is out of Houston area, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Or no, Friendswood. I don't know where the fuck Friendswood's at.
Look it up.
It's in Texas.
The problem is when your state is so huge.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was Kevin Rand. While he looks this up, just so we can talk about it a little bit. Hey, good job, Kevin. I really like the synergy in this list. That Lord Virulence, obviously, probably dropping in with that unit and everything you've
It's
got.
down here
It's
from
down by
Houston.
Houston.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
cool.
I recognize Tim Frisbee's name. The Tyranids are brutal. Tim's a great player.
Yep.
Yeah,
I think we talked about him last week, honestly. He's a really good player. So, hey, good job, man. Those are some solid wins. I honestly think your hardest matchup might have been those Tyranids. So, strong work, dude.
because of bodies.
Yep.
Big bodies.
And the last list of the day is going to be the Sneed and Feed. So, this is Jared Hughes at that TCG February RTT in Friendswood. And he was running Custodes. Pretty similar Custodes list, man. And that's nothing against you Custodes players, because you all have these slight variances that I love because you're playing into your playstyle, which is something that I always like to preach to people, is always set up your list to your playstyle. But you only have so many units in your codex, so there's only so many things you can take.
They should be getting a new unit. From those little reveals that they're showing, it's like, that looks like a Custo to me.
It's going to be a Space Marine Lieutenant that's gold. So this list here, we have a Blade Champion with the Veiled Blade. We have the Shield Captain with Inspirational Exemplar. That one's a little bit new. And then we have Trajan.
Right now.
Trajan is that auto take, man. We have a Guard Squad. Looks like there are 6 of them. And we have another Guard Squad. So the Inspirational Exemplar is going to be... they have a better leadership, so leadership 5, so maybe to deal with some of those Dark Eldar. And then once per battle at the start of any phase, a unit within 12 inches that's battle shocked is no longer battle shocked. So honestly, that could definitely be an
Anti-meta.
anti-meta just going against that Dark Eldar.
I gotta thank GW for giving me all these codes for free as a sponsored organizer.
Hell yeah. And then the other one that we have a huge man, a 5-man Alaris squad, and then a 2-man of the Terminators as well, and then 5 Wardens, because they're an auto take, honestly. So we have 3 squads of 5 Wardens, and that's it. So we don't see any tanks in this one. This is kind of just a lot of big boy bodies walking across the field and owning
the bodies
objectives.
hit the floor.
Oh yeah, no, this is definitely a bodies hit the floor list. I actually like this a lot. I'm still not 100% sold on the tanks, because there's some matchups where the tanks will never make their points back, and they're pretty expensive tanks.
I would have a hard time dealing with all the bodies.
Yep.
The Terminators, it's a 2-up save, but they actually had the blast weapons, and the large squad has a lot of blast weapons.
Yeah.
They're going to pick up and drop. They're going to stick you an objective somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're... Actually, I think I'm more scared of this list than any list with
That we've looked at so far with the vehicles. I would actually agree with that a little bit.
In regards to Custodes, my
Yeah.
so-
Yeah.
The only thing on this list is I might add in another Blade Champion. But I like that he took 3, just because your opponent will never be like, oh, I'm going to take Assassination as a fixed and cleanse. That'll never be an option with 3.
And probably my favorite as that Inspirational Exemplar.
Yep. It's a cool little ad just to go anti-meta against those Dark Eldar. So
Yeah,
the players that you played against... Oh, sorry, man.
I'd have a very hard time with my demons against this many bodies.
So you're saying this is how to beat demons?
This is definitely a way to beat demons. This just so many bodies here, and it's all 3 wounds. So a lot of my 1 damage shot. It's a lot of bodies. That's a lot of.
It's a
wounds.
fuck ton of wounds. Yeah, I really like this list.
I think the issue comes at is that at the start of the phase is when you're gonna do an auto pass. It's like, well, whose turn it is? When am I making take the test?
You just do it in the charge phase though. Like you're about to get charged and have to do that battle shock, or whenever you have to take the battle shock
or the
with
fight
Dark Elder.
phase.
Yeah, whenever it is,
like,
that's when you do it.
So at the start of the phase is when you pass. It's like, are you gonna do it? Because the start of the phase, I'm gonna make you test, or are you gonna do it now because it's my turn? I'm gonna make you test before I even force you to take the test.
It's whenever it's. I just don't know the verbiage on when you have to take the test.
Both are generally at the start of the phase. So the controlling player is gonna choose like, you don't have to pass the test because I'm not making you take the test. But now that I'm making you take the test, it's too late for you to auto pass.
Yeah, that's weird. That's weird verbiage.
I mean,
It'd definitely be like a
honestly,
TO call. Honestly, that'd be event by event based.
Yeah, but
So,
honestly, you're not even auto passing the test until you have to take the test. So
Yeah, good find on that one. So we played against Jared Hughes played against Tim Caps with Death Guard, Devin Wicks playing Tau, and then Aaron Rosenfield playing Astro Militarum.
I kind of want to see that Tau list, especially with the Riptides going down in points and the like, and damage 3 guns.
Yeah. I think that'd be his hardest matchup, honestly.
I mean, he still went through the
That
guard.
followed by the Death Guard. So, hey, man, super good job. Jared, you're our last one for the night. So, hey, good job, man. Overall, hey, guys, once again, Texas, congratulations for having another fantastic week of events. Across the country, we're killing it with the number of events we do per state. Makes a lot of sense. It's the biggest state. We get a lot of players.
Alaska, we know, but we're the biggest state that matters.
Yeah. Poor Alaska. But, hey, man, good job to everybody that won, everybody that showed up to the events. I can't wait for next week as well, because there's just more RTTs this weekend. These two are going to some of them.
I told him and we're on a collision course.
Yeah.
Yep.
Hey, it's gonna happen.
We're
Hey,
gonna
so
meet
strong-
at Clutch round 1.
Yeah.
Just get it over. I'm gonna be 5-1 because I faced him round 1.
Yeah. Dude, it's a strong work there across the board. Hey, I'm going to do a couple more plugs for stuff. Once again, giving a huge shout out to Colin for the event that he's about to host with Clutch. Once again, just maybe try to get on that wait list if you want to go. Everybody that's there, I already mentioned it. Man, if you come up to me, mention the podcast, show me that you subscribed, I'll buy you a beer.
Nice.
Thank God beers are fucking cheap there. Thank
Amazing
God.
Because he's
video.
at a Night of
Amazing.
Columbus Hall.
Yeah,
Yes.
I like the event venue. The beer and the food there is super cheap, and it's super great. And that's where I introduced myself to pre-made Jack and Cokes. Jack Daniels makes these; they're phenomenal. And they're the same price as the beer. Though.
Fantastic.
I played a guy last year that did it. So that event's coming up. Another plug, I'm going to mention it again, is going to be that War Dome, right? So the War Dome again in Houston. Please, if you buy your ticket, use the Hammered promo code for that. It doesn't get you any money off, unfortunately. But what it does is it allows me to be able to choose a school. I'm not going to lie. I'm going to leave that up to everybody that's subscribed here. And I'm going to do it with a voting process. And you guys will be able to choose that school that we sign up to get a Warhammer Club started at. So check out War Dome. I can guarantee that's going to be a fun event. The terrain that they have looks really beautiful. The guys talking to them, they seem to have it all set up and everything like that. And they seem like they're about to do a really good job. And like I said, first year events are always that year that they like really push everything from random ass prize support usually. And I don't know if they have that at this event. I can ask them. But just normally having really good events because they want to solidify themselves in the TCC and things like that. So super good there. Right after that, we have Alamo.
That's me.
And that's David. Hey, tickets are still available for that. There's going to be a link here. Please go to that link. David hasn't set up anything where you can get a promo code for me. Maybe he should. But he's already offered to donate some of that Alamo terrain to that school, even if it's not one that's won by Lone Star Hammered. So that's awesome. But go buy your tickets for that event. It's going to be at the Hyatt downtown here in San Antonio. That event's going to be phenomenal. It is every single year. A lot of people that I talk to in the Texas meta, that's usually their first RT or major that they go to, and it sets that standard for them. David does a really good job. I won't suck his dick any more than that. He does phenomenal.
I'm not gonna stop you.
And that's the same venue as back in the past when it was at that hotel, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
the Hyatt Regency.
My
on the
wife,
Riverwalk.
taking my wife with me, she loved it too. So it's also great for your spouses
Yep.
for the weekend.
It's
I do the
right
same
on the
thing.
Riverwalk. It literally.
Set her, forget her, spa, pool. Like, I don't got time for you. I'm playing 40K. This is what matters.
No, fantastic event. So go buy your tickets for that. And that's all I have for any majors. Once again, I'm going to give a really big shout out to Rexer's Lasers. There's also going to be a website here that's you can go to. If you want to start prepping for any of these majors coming up, that's the place to get terrain. He makes a lot of the terrain here for the majors. He made it for Clutch. He's making it for David's event. He's making it for some of the events in the future here. And he also makes a bunch of other custom stuff. So please go check out Rexer's Lasers as well.
Especially as events have gotten more terrain intensive, but the events can be very stylized.
100%.
My terrain is unique to me. Yeah. Even if I try to make GW layouts, it's my terrain.
Yep.
It's going to be different from someone else's. So you just, if you have the tools or the means, you want to get those different styles, it's a different game.
Yep, that's the place. He also sells a bunch of gaming aids as well. Like I use him for my Fate Dice stuff. He has a Fate Dice tray that's awesome, and he also has like Leagues of Votan Judgment tokens. So super good local company to go through to get a lot of your stuff. And then that's pretty much it, guys. Hey, thank you for watching. Thank you guys for playing all over Texas.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah, hey man, I'm gonna give you guys some
thanks.
closeouts.
I appreciate
right?
it.
I'm not the last man. So if you got any shout outs, anything you got, David?
Again, Clutch is probably going to be the largest event at the Texas Championship Circuit. It's a growing event, so we have more and more people in the TCC as it is. Alamo40kgt.com, love to have you. Last year we had 128 players. This year, depending on how the hotel situation works out, might be a little bit smaller, but we included Old Hammer for the fantasy side of things.
Okay, cool.
And we actually have Heresy again, and of course, Kill Teams. Golden ticket event, so for both of those.
Oh yeah, I forgot to mention that. That is a golden ticket event. Do we know if Colin's event is
I
golden
think
ticket?
I'm 99% sure it's.
I almost guarantee it is.
Because there's a
next
blurb
week.
he has to include, and I saw that in there, so I was like, "There's a reason it says sole responsibility."
Yeah, so that's a big one for any of you golden ticket chasers. It's a golden ticket event was really fun. So
yeah, so like I only have one, but that would be Alamo and Clutch. I don't know Wardome or if it's going to be a golden ticket event, but it's their first event. So
I feel like he said he got a golden ticket for it.
He might have, and if he
I'll
did,
I'll reach out.
There.
I'll reach out to
anyways.
those guys to let them know.
Yeah.
So or to let you guys know for next. All right, man. Well, thank you, David. And then David, you got any closeouts, any shout outs you want to do, man?
I mean, I can just shout out my team for us practicing, talking all the time, and list building, but. Like I ain't got a fancy GT in my name, so.
Oh, hey, it's all good, man. Hey, well, thank you guys for having you on, and thank you so much, man. That was perfect. Thanks, guys.
Bye, David.
Later.